been wanting to show you all my perfume setup for a while. So these are my materials that are diluted. These are all dilutions, and these are the ones I use the most. And then these here are the ones I'm currently using. Then over here is some stuff that I either made large batches so that I could do different experimental trials off of that initial. Let's see, this one, Wild Strawberry Accord. I started this in September. This is ISO E-Super. I don't know when I'm ever gonna go through that much of that. But this one I use quite a bit of from time to time. These are types of musks, edenolide, galaxolide. This one I think you can use in up to 50% of the fragrance concentrate. Methyl gamma, you can use that in a leather accord. And these are some of the ones I've pulled out to work on. But I label the batches as it's kind of like a code I came up with for the date. This is the month, the day of the month, and the batch of that day. And that's the year. There are some days where I made multiple batches. I think the day I made the most batches, it might have been 9 separate batches. Here is a Grajman Accord that I made in a large batch in September. Grajman Accord is by Sophia Grajman. The fragrance that I think she started the Grajman Accord with was in Tresor. And then I made a Grajman Accord where I used edenolide instead, and beta-ionone, instead of the, I think, galaxolide. I took out some of the galaxolide and changed it to edenolide, which is more fruity, and then the beta-ionone, which is more floral. This was a more tamed down, sweeter version, and this tends to be more woody. So this is my son's room, but before that, it was the guest room. And in here, I have my experiments going back to the very first one box all the way up. One of these is my son's. I'm not sure. This one might be my son's, but all the rest of them are totally full. So this is the most recent one. So I've got some spaces left, so I need to order another box. And I hope Amazon keeps carrying these boxes too. So yeah, this day looks like I made 8 batches, different experiments on March 7th, 2024. March 9th, I made 2. March 10th, I made 1. March 12th, I made 1. Yeah, there's some in April. But between April 1st, I didn't make any experiments until August 1st. But then I made 2. Then I didn't do anything till August 30th. Then I started in September. I started making quite a few. I made quite a few up until I think maybe, might have made some in December. I think some of the ones back there might have been December, but mostly I haven't done any since November. It's been calling to me though. And see, sometimes I make a spray in my office here. I'll show you my books. This is called Strawberry Perfume Realistic with green and dirt added. That was on November 25th. Here's another iteration because I used the larger batch that I made originally in September, and I added things to it. That was the last one, December 10th. These are my formula notebooks. And I put the dates and the formulas, and then I'll put the very last formula that fits on the last page here. And I use these kinds of post-it notes when I get people's feedback on the fragrances, but I start all my perfume formula journals like this. This one's volume 9, and they're all exactly like this, as far as I know. These are just some ideas. Okay, so that's volume 8. There's volume 5. There's some more notes. There's volume 7. Looks like they're out of order because I might have gone through them to look for some of the ones I picked out I liked. And I wanted to go back and see, because in my notes, see, I keep my formulas on paper like this, as well as each ingredient I measure, put into the bottle that's on the scale. I also put it in my Formulaire, which is like it's a software program that Sam Macer came up with and developed. So I have that I use. So that gives me percentages and like different, you know, statistics, I guess, about the composition of the fragrance. But here I can put like notes, like just my notes. It's just when I see this, it gives me a better sense. See, yes, I made that. Walk with the Devil. And I used this initially, and then I changed it by adding these things to it. So this is 2023. And I just get more information sometimes about what I was thinking when I was going in to create it, when I look at my actual written notes rather than in Formulaire. Because there's a place to put notes there too, but I just don't get a sense of it myself. Let's see over here. Yeah, favorite notes. I took notes on Ramsey's favorite notes because I wanted to send him some perfumes that I thought he would like. Yeah, client, Ramsey. He was not my client. He never consented to being my client. And then this is my volume 1. And let me see how different it is, because at first I was just measuring by drops, just for a little bit. Yeah, by drops. And I didn't know about I didn't know how to title each batch or experiment. So I was doing stuff like the letter had something to do with the fact that I was trying to explore this ingredient, eugenol, and seeing what it would go well with. But then it got complicated. See? And then I might have combined something with something else. So let's see how long it took me, because I don't even have the dates here. That was a drawback of this particular way of doing things. Yes, I was still using drops. That was before I got a scale that worked. This is volume 2. All right, so this was between December 3rd, 2022 and January 13th, 2023. So this is my second journal. So it's still naming it, weird stuff. I even didn't have a journal for a while, so I wrote on something else and then I glued it in here. See, when did I actually smarten up? Okay, so then I started putting a date here. Right, it wasn't till I started using Formulaire, which I actually realized I need to come up with a code. So on January 9th, 2023, I decided this was a code. And then I because in Formulaire, it organizes it based on the numbers or the naming. So you gotta make it go in order so you're able to work in order with your formulas. So I came up with the top one. I used this to begin with, and then I was like, here, set the batch code apart. That way you can tell everything that was done on that same day. And then I can go back and be like, what was I smelling that day? And what happened in my life that day? And then maybe I want to like have some memory of that day so that I can sniff what I was actually working on from the bottle. This was a tincture I made from vanilla beans. I got a bunch of vanilla beans from Costco, and so I decided to make my own tincture. In fact, I have some, I'm pretty sure this is sassafras in here, and this has been in here for about 1.5 years in the alcohol. Needs to be strained out. But after I started making this, because I love the scent of sassafras, I realized sassafras is not allowed to be used on skin because there was some potential that there might be an allergen for some people. Or not allergen, I think it was cancer. So abruptly we had to stop using sassafras in like root beers and stuff. And so now it can't even be applied to skin. Let me just smell this. This is amazing. You can make a combination of various materials, including birch, juniper, and make your own root beer, which is kind of similar to sassafras. But sassafras has a little more, some of the more warmer aspects to it. It's not easy to create it. So I haven't found anything close enough yet. So yeah, maybe I'll make something for personal use with this. When I first started making my first fragrances, I made a really good one that I handed out to some people I knew. And they came back like several months later saying they loved it. It was sassafras, and I actually had oud in there. And I may have added a bit of vanilla. But yeah, I used my oud material for one of the first times, and I haven't used it much since. And yes, I may want to recreate that sassafras with oud that I made before, early on. I have a very small amount left in a small spray atomizer, like a 10 milliliter. And I might want to make it again, maybe make it a little bit less sweet this time.